Hey everyone, today we have a rig review, a rig that I've been curious about for a long time called Rocket Girl. A very appealing design that I've been curious to try for a while. So why not try it with you guys here for the very first time so I can tell you what I think about the rig, how good is it, and how easy it is to work with. Let's do it. So this is Rocket Girl right here. And when you open the rig, you can see like it comes with just the rig and then the pistol is separate. So one of the very first things that I noticed when I opened it, not necessarily bad, but once I imported the weapon here, I noticed that the weapon itself doesn't have any controllers. It's just a mesh, which normally is a no-no because you need at least some kind of controller around the weapon to be able to kind of like manipulate it instead of manipulating the mesh directly. So I didn't open the weapon by itself. Maybe it's available, but it should actually come with the weapon even if you bring in the animation like this, if you reference it in, which is even better, right? But I couldn't see anything, so something to actually keep in mind. Definitely hit me up or comment down below if perhaps I'm missing a controller or there's something hidden, but I couldn't find it. This is basically the only downside that I found when I opened the rig. Everything else looks great. The textures are included in the model and it looks absolutely fantastic. The model, I like the jetpacks on the back, looks really, really cool. The whole design is like incredibly appealing. It looks incredibly cool, almost like straight out of a movie, right? Like you can see this in a movie. Now, one of the very first things that I noticed that I really liked, right, is this knee controllers, these pole vectors right here for the knees. It's very creative how they actually made almost like, planets and orbits and all that stuff. Looks very scientific, looks very cool. Love it. Really nice touch. Really nice touch. Not necessarily needed for you to animate, but you can tell that these kind of things will make your life much more enjoyable when you are animating them. Now, starting from the bottom, as usual, let's look at the options that we have here on the main controller. So we have geo resolution low, and I guess you can go higher. So you have proxy, that's cool. And then you have low, medium, and high. You can definitely see that those curves of the legs and all that stuff are way sharper when you go to high. So really this is really useful depending on the computer that you have and depending how fast do you want the animations to play. Because even with caching that Maya has nowadays, sometimes if you don't have a computer that is fast enough, you kind of need to have this kind of situation. Especially in a rig that is this detailed, you kind of have to have it in a way that, you can actually see it in blocks. So this is a proxy. I'm pretty sure like all this is broken, but you can see the animation. And this is the most important thing. I personally, even if I have a fast computer like I have now, I prefer to use it as a proxy because I don't want the speed of my computer to be an element of my animation while I actually animate. So keeping things as simple as possible. So I'll leave it as proxy because this is kind of how I would like it. So that's really cool that you can change that. And then if you go into your feet, so you have your foot rolls, really nice. You also have your heel pivots, ball pivot, toe pivot, toe raise, and toe wiggle. And tilt as well. Nice. Oh, and lean as well. That's cool. Many options. This is normally a good sign of a good rig. Really, really cool. You can tell that it was an animator that actually perhaps rigged this, or the person that rigged this had feedback from animators as well. Now you have IKFK in the legs, which is always useful and nice to have. And you have bending controls. Ooh, this is cool. Oh, this is very, very nice. So you can actually bend the leg, make it extra cartoony, extra cool. I like it. So far, really feeling this. All right. So normally a really good test for any rig is this bend here, right? Depending on the rigger, depending on how like complex the rig is, this this muscle here that you have on your lower leg intersects more or less with the upper leg. So maybe if I actually change this to high poly, you can see how much intersects, and it's okay. I mean, it could be better for sure, that intersection here, but it's okay. I think it's not that bad. So what you get in some rigs is that as you bend this leg, just like you have here on the bend, this muscle that you have on the bottom of the quadriceps, this muscle actually deforms accordingly as you move your leg up. So you have a better shape of your leg as you make this move. Unfortunately, most rigs have this kind of situation where the lower leg intercepts the upper leg, but it's not a big issue because you can always like animate around it. As long as you don't have that shape for too long, then you're good to go. Cool. Okay, moving up. Pole vectors, knee stick and unstick. So I'm guessing that if you actually move this, the knee is gonna follow. And if I set it to stick, oh, I see. So the leg sticks to the knee more or less. Okay, got it. So this is definitely useful. It has its uses. I normally don't use it. I like to actually kind of like get my pole vectors to move forward and back, but you can definitely get this these things to stick to your knees as you are animating it. So always good options, always amazing. You also have parenting, either the foot or the world, and this is basically what you normally get from a regular rig where your knees don't move. So the fact that you have parenting to the foot by default, this is how I like to animate, so you don't have to kind of like go and fetch your pole vector from here because you made a walk cycle or something like that. So really cool. Moving up, what do we have? I think these things here on the arms and the legs don't have any controllers, unfortunately. It'd be really nice to have some kind of jiggle controllers or some kind of like controllers to open this pocket perhaps, or getting these little canisters out so you can use it as props. That would be really nice, but as far as I can see, there's nothing that allows me to get those props to be movable. So perhaps something that maybe the rigger can add. Okay, moving on up. Hips. So we have these lower hips. I kind of like a lot this accordion kind of vibe that she has on the hips. Looks really, really nice. This controller, normally good to actually kind of like have hip sway. And I guess this is the proper hips controller. Okay, so very simple hip controller, works fine. By the way, this hip controller, I'm normally a fan of having it under the hip, the main hip controller, just so it actually is clear that it's part of the hips. Otherwise, sometimes animators actually do this, which basically allows you to select all of your upper body, thinking that this is maybe a hip, a spine controller, but it's not, right? So I normally like to have this controller under the main hip controller just to kind of separate them a little bit, and just so animators can go like this and have the whole spine selected, so then you can actually just move things around as you want. So now going up to the spine control, I think this is a very normal spine rig. I think I have all the controllers selected, don't I? Let me see. Let me just select the high res just to make sure that I'm not missing something. Just see. So this, and this. And as I bend, yeah. So I think there's a bit of a problem here, because as you bend over like that spine, you want to see that ass. So the belly should actually kind of like go in as you are rotating it instead of out. Also, I see the controller starting to spin according to what the spine is doing, but the body is not really kind of like flexing in and out. So this is definitely something that will be awesome to see it changed, because it becomes a bit of a problem. And then in order for you to kind of like rectify this, you have to select this controller, have a translate, which you don't have right now, and then move it back. You also don't have translates here. You only have translates there. So yeah, you have to basically select the top controller and then basically counter animate things as you are moving the controllers here. So it becomes very cumbersome. Always best to actually have like really nice shapes when you select the three controllers at the same time. Reason why is mainly because you are working with them in tandem most of the time. You can overlap them at some point, but especially in the beginning, as you're setting up shapes and setting up poses, you need to kind of have them have a really good shape to start with. So that might be like the biggest problem so far of the rig. Let's see what else we have. So arms, where is the IKFK controllers? IKFK, oh, I think it's this guy here. Yeah, that's what it is. So change it to IK. Okay, so like a bit of a problem as well here, and you know, not a big at all, but is that as soon as you change from FK and IK, you see how that shape changes? That's normally like a red flag, mainly because it means that if an animator decides to animate an FK only, and then you actually change to IK, that pose is going to change quite drastically. So it requires extra work, but you know, it's not a biggie. But it's something definitely that, you know, I would flag if you were working with this rig on a studio. And then let's see, hands is cool. And then this thing can actually rotate, which is awesome. So you can actually put it like towards the face of the character and away from the face, and it's cool. Yeah, this thing looks cool. Fingers, very important. So fingers, finger tweak. And then you have curl. Okay, I kind of like this. This is really cool. So you can curl your fingers to actually have a default shape, which is really cool. Keeps it simple, keeps it nice. And I think the rigger actually made some really nice shapes because the fingers are not even. So that's really nice. Cool to see. Curl, yeah, and then rotate. Yeah, that's really cool to see. But if you do want to actually have extra controls, then you go ahead and get your finger tweaks in. And then you can get extra movement in your fingers as you go along. So really dig that. And you have a palm controller. Now this is cool, something that is missing from a lot of rigs. So you can get that cup motion, right? That you can get on hands, get that like circular vibe on that hand. Very important. So these hands are going to be really fun to work with. Really cool. Shoulders, nice. I saw something here that I need to check out. So FK rotation space. So this is only for FK, and then the rotation space can be either shoulder or torso. Interesting. This is shoulder, so I guess I can rotate this the regular way. Okay, but if I change this to have maybe hips, then what happens? Interesting. I've never seen that before. Be interesting to know if you guys have used the rig before. Definitely leave a comment down below about how useful that feature was about FK rotation space. I normally don't animate in FK, so probably somebody that has animated this rig in FK, let me know. But yeah, interesting to know exactly how that would work. Bending controllers, really cool. Same as the legs. Always awesome to see that they have, the character has extra bending controllers. I'm not too sure if you actually use this computer. Probably shouldn't bend it with the computer on. Probably like when having the computer off. And that actually brings me to, can you actually hide it? I guess you can always go to the geo and hide it, but it'd be awesome to have like a channel here that says hide wrist PC. Also, I'm not too sure why you would rotate it this way. Probably be like locked to rotating this way only when you have it in your wrist. So having it rotate like this, maybe because of the bend. No, having it rotating just one way probably be best. So yeah, cool controls for the arms. Let me see what else we have. Let's go up. And now we have the neck, very simple neck controller, and then the face. I like how the controller is actually shaped like the face of the character. It looks really cool. Feels like I'm grabbing the head properly. So really nice. Here we have a simple eye controller, but I can tell already that these eyes look so appealing. Look at that. Just by me moving them around, looks so appealing, super cool. And then you have face controls as well. Here on the channel box, you can see that there's extra controllers. So hide and show face controls, And there's also a head tweak. I wonder if this is for deforming the head. It is. So cool. Awesome stuff. Love that. And then she has a helmet too. Oh man, so cool. I think I've seen this in animations. So cool, this helmet. Just gonna leave the helmet on. Looks amazing. Cool. So anyways, the head controllers are really cool. Let's go to the face controls now that you actually have the helmet on. So we have eyebrow controller right now and getting the eyebrows to move. I like how it kind of changes the shape of the hair, and it has a max and a min. Really awesome. Nose controller. You can rotate it as well. And then nostrils, really cool, and you can move them around. So something that I would like to see is like one controller for the eyebrow on top of these 3 controllers, right? Otherwise you have to constantly go click, 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 and then still move the eyebrow. Having one controller on top of this, and then the extra controllers will help you to kind of like simplify things. Here on these eyebrow controllers, on these nostril controllers, I should say, having them move out and in, so you have to do this and then this by clicking a bunch of times actually helps a ton. So having it so you can select both and then just go like this and it just opens and closes, that will be nice as well. Let me see, lids, does it go over the eye really nicely? Yes, it does. Top lid and bottom lid, yeah, goes like rolls up over the eyeball really nicely. And then we have lips controls, mouth, nice. I like how simplified the mouth controls are. Sometimes a little bit too much when it comes to having too many little dots everywhere in the lips and things. Teeth, lips, nice, looks really cool. And push and pull. So on this push and pull will be the same thing, right? Instead of actually moving them like this, it would be awesome to have the same thing as the nostrils so they can actually move outwards as you go through. Same thing here. But yeah, like I think the face deformation is good. It's okay, but it could be better. At the moment, like if you actually push it too hard, you can see the face kind of like getting deformed, and it's not really affecting the nose very much, just every so slightly, right? But, you know, within reason, I think this is actually okay to move. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that's it. Oh, wait. We have the rocket. Yeah. The rocket pack. What does it have? Visibility on and off. And that's it. Oh, man. What a shame. So here it will be really cool to have some kind of controllers that allow you to move the rocket on her back, as well as having these rockets slightly separate so they can actually move individually. But even if the design doesn't allow for that, because it's basically like the rockets are static, or they're like one piece of geo, having these boosters being able to maybe expand, close and expand, or having them move in the form because they are made of rubber, that will make for a really nice addition. So we can actually add that secondary motion and, you know, that booster movement that jets have as she's taking off. So yeah, I think having these props kind of like be interactable, maybe even like going as far as kind of like adding some like knobs here that can be used and the character can interact with, will allow for way more fun when you are animating. But I think that's it. That's Rocket Girl in a nutshell. Really cool rig. Needs a few additions and a few tweaks in order to really make it like excel, but I would definitely recommend it if you actually want to have fun in your show reel and do a really cool Rocket Girl animation. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you do, drop a comment, subscribe if you haven't so far, and drop a like. I would highly appreciate that. Also, thanks to all my Patreons for supporting me every single month. And until next week, stay well, stay safe. Peace.